Hey, it's Tom Holland.
Shh. Spoilers ahead.
Smooth and silky as a banana's skin.
I mean, it's literally being recorded.
Oh.
Did you hear your singing last week?
Yes, I did. I was listening through it, and I was like, "Where do I sing? Where do I?" And then it's at the end. I don't know. It's like one arm drama. Oh, that's taking me back. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Cinemattraction. That's right, baby. That's right, people. This is the big one. Woo! Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. I am Heat Guy Jay, and with me is Cold to the Bone
Star-Lord.
Can I ask you a question, John?
Okay, sure.
Why are you dressed like Iron Man today?
I look like $1 million.
You do. And I love you 3000.
What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Well, we watched together a very big film this week.
We did.
John Wick #4.
We did. We went to the cinema. What
We did.
What did you think of John Wick?
It was
4?
brilliant, wasn't it?
It was amazing.
What about his firework gun? Let's talk about the firework gun.
Yeah,
That was amazing. Setting people on fire and killing them.
Yeah, there's a bit where they go to the film literally ends in Paris, and they go to an apartment.
Yes.
And they've got fireworks, shotguns.
All that overhead.
And I don't
shot.
understand how they did it.
I don't.
It's the most incredible.
It's tremendous,
scene.
isn't it?
It's like it's very video gamey, but it's. I was amazed.
And John Wick is very much. It's not been based on a comic book, has it?
I don't believe
It's
so.
got a very comic book feel about it, like a graphic novel sort of
Yes.
feel. Like the people in it are not sort of.
Yeah.
They're in the real world, but they're not.
They're they're cartoonish characters.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything else?
Not really.
I've literally only been watching good stuff because over the last 3 weeks I've been watching terrible stuff.
Yeah. And you need to fill up that quota of
I
good.
need to balance it a bit.
Yeah.
So I watched Terminator 2, and we're going to be doing an episode very soon.
We
as we've
will.
just been discussing on the first. And
We'll
second
be
Terminator.
back.
Oh, God, mate, Terminator 2 is so good, Jason. Terminator 2.
What
is
about that
so good.
soundtrack? Guns N' Roses. You could be mine.
And I got the second sight 4K of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
You did. You're very excited about that, weren't you?
It's so good.
Yeah.
Episode one day. Avengers Infinity War is you're not going to do an episode on the Texas Chainsaw
No, we're
Massacre.
not.
Oh, gosh.
No, we
diddly
might.
darn
We
it.
might. I don't know.
Oh, for God's
See
sake.
if you can talk me into it. See if you sweet talk me into it.
Okay.
Buy me
we're
dinner.
Gonna have to, it's going to be
Maybe you can
one
buy
of
me
those
dinner.
two- Okay. One thing leads to another. Avengers Infinity War is we've got so much to go through, so we have to get into this. Avengers Infinity War is an epic 2018 superhero action sequel based on the Marvel Comics characters, directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, produced by Marvel Studios, boasting a stellar ensemble.
Huge. Big. This movie is big.
Including the likes of Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Holland, Chadwick Boseman, Jude Law,
Jude Law. Paul Bettany.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Should have Jude Law in it, though. He's part now, isn't he?
He is. He was in Captain Marvelous,
Yeah,
wasn't he? Yeah. Don Cheadle's, Jeremy Beagles, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Letitia Wright, Dave Bautista, Zoe Saldana, Chris Pratt, and Josh Brolin. Among others, a critical and commercial success and then some, earning $2 billion at the worldwide box office from a budget of approximately $400 million. Which is a ridiculous amount of money.
That's a lot of money. 400 million.
It should be noted that this and Endgame were shot simultaneously.
Okay.
So they shot the two together.
Yeah.
Which, even so, is pretty not bad, is it?
No. We're getting 5 hours. Is it about 5.5 hours a movie?
I think, yeah.
400 million?
6 hours. They're both about 3 hours long, these,
Oh,
aren't they?
okay.
But I think you have to consider the scale of the films, the various photorealistic CG characters, and the fact that the cast members have probably been on like $10 million each, right?
Oh yeah.
Suddenly makes sense. It looks more of a bargain. This is the 19th film of the MCU, and it serves as the first of two parts, the second part being Endgame, which we'll be getting into very shortly. You kind of need to have seen the previous 18 films to really get a true sense of what's going on
Yeah,
here.
definitely.
There are 6 Infinity Stones. I'm going to do my best with trying to explain this. There are 6 Infinity Stones forged from the fury of the Big Bang. I do these hand movements, but people can't see it. located in various points across the universe, which grant the bearer a unique ability. The Space Stone is handy for teleportation. The Mind Stone can be used to control minds. The Reality Stone can alter reality. The Power Stone manipulates energy. The Time Stone alters time. And the Soul Stone allows the bearer to control souls. Anyway,
I don't know what the actual Soul Stone does, do you?
It allows the bearer to control souls.
Oh, it does?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. The bearer of all 6 of these stones makes them the most powerful, again with the hand gestures, makes them the most powerful individual in the whole of the universe. We encounter the big naughty boy villain Thanos and his goons as they...
Well, he is a big bad, isn't he?
He's a big naughty boy.
He is.
As they hijack a spaceship carrying the last survivors of Asgard, where he acquires the Space Stone, duffing up Thor, Hulk and killing Loki.
Yeah. And I think also we have to remember R.I.P. to Heimdall as well.
And who sends Hulk back to Earth.
Yes.
Where Hulk warns Doctor Strange and his right-hand man Wong of... There's so many strange
So if
names.
you think about it, Heimdall really is the MVP of the whole thing, because if he hadn't sent Hulk back, nobody would have known that Thanos was coming.
Wouldn't have seen this coming.
No.
And they didn't really deal with it well anyway. To be
They
fair.
didn't. They weren't prepared, were they?
Doctor Strange possesses the Time Stone and has a big old reason to take Thanos' threat very, very seriously. It is revealed that Thanos has acquired the Power Stone from the planet Xandar. There's so many silly names in this. The Guardians of the Galaxy rescues the Asgardian ship, and Thor explains that Thanos is chasing the Reality Stone, which is on the planet called Nowhere. Is a Reality Stone on planet Nowhere? I can't remember.
Yes, I think it is. It's with the Collector, isn't it?
It's the Collector.
But Benicio.
Magnificent! Though when Guardians, Star-Lord, Drax, Gamora and Mantis arrive at Nowhere, they discover that naughty boy Thanos has already taken the stone and winds up extorting the location of the Soul Stone from his daughter Gamora. Gamora's really good looking, you know.
She is.
Yeah. Even for green.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, love doesn't see any colour, does it? Even if it's green.
It's colourblind, isn't it? We encounter Vision and Wanda, who have relocated to Edinburgh. Vision literally has the Mind Stone embedded into his forehead and knows that it's going to be very, very bad when Thanos comes looking for it. Sure enough, Thanos comes calling, collecting the Reality Stone and Mind Stone during some very big punchy fights involving all of the Avengers team, including Black Panther and his army. Thanos uses the completed collection of stones to snap half of all life in the universe away as a means of balancing out the universe. What do you think of Infinity War?
God, this movie is big. It's massive, isn't it?
It's enormous.
It's epic.
Yeah.
I think we'll start with the deaths of Loki and Heimdall.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't think people were really aware that there was going to... I don't think people thought that Loki was going to die, because Tom Hiddleston himself has actually said that he didn't know that he was going to die in it.
I haven't watched the Loki show.
Right.
Is it addressed that Loki... What happened to Loki, though?
Yes.
Because he's presumably still alive. Then.
He is alive, but a version of himself,
So
but
there are
not
different-
that version.
So there are different timeline versions of
Yeah, a
Loki?
different timeline version. The timeline version of Loki from 2012's Avengers 1
Right.
is
that why-
the Loki that we have in the Loki show.
Right.
The
This is really confusing.
what would you say? The evolved version of Loki, who went through Ragnarok with Thor and went through all the other stuff.
Yep.
That is not that Loki. Okay. He hasn't progressed to
Is
that Loki
Richard E.
yet.
Grant a version of Loki as well, though?
He is.
That's
He's
really
the
weird.
original version of Loki.
I love Richard E. Grant.
Because Richard E. Grant actually said that he was so excited when he got called up for the program, and he said, "I was thinking I was going to get something like a muscle suit put on me." And what did they do? They put like a leotard thing on me.
He looks good though, right?
He looks like original Loki from the comics. How can you beat that?
With Nail episode incoming.
Yes, one thing I would have liked to have seen is, because you start the movie obviously on Thor's ship from Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen Thanos get the Power Stone, I believe it is, from Xandar.
Yeah, it's mentioned that he's got it off camera.
But you don't. But I'm hoping that at some point they may, in somebody else's film, address that scene, maybe show that scene. But it's looking doubtful now that they're moving into the multiverse saga.
I don't think you need to see it.
I would have liked to seen him decimate the Nova Corps.
Oh, okay.
It could have been quite spectacular beginning.
I have questions about where the MCU is going, to be honest, because I don't know enough about Kang. As much as I enjoyed his performance in
I don't really know an awful lot. I mean, I've not really... I mean, I read the Infinity Gauntlet comic. Okay. So I have some, obviously, knowledge about Thanos and stuff like that. But I'm not really... I've not really come in... I think he's come in and out of maybe some Fantastic Four films, Kang... comics, I mean, with me, but I don't really know the character too well. I know there's versions of him. But the deaths of Loki, I mean, I'm not sure a lot of people knew that Loki was probably going to die. Heimdall definitely, because Idris Elba wanted out of the MCU. Oh, did he? Yeah. Oh. So, I don't think he was particularly happy with his career in the MCU. Yeah, I know. But Tom Hiddleston definitely didn't want to get... And the Russo brothers told him, like, basically, well, you're going to die in this. And he was kind of like, oh. He's
also a massively, like, popular character.
Yeah, very popular. So really popular.
To kill him off...
I think it was Kevin Feige actually said, you know, you're going to die in Infinity War. And he was so disappointed. And then, because they hadn't explained to him that it was going to be a Loki series. Right. So he thought that was literally the end of his MCU journey.
So he's not contracted like the other ones are contracted.
Well, he obviously wasn't. No, not for any more films. No.
Right, because
not
for any more contracted
films.
for certain. So we knew.
Yeah, he's obviously not been contracted for films.
You knew that Captain America probably wasn't going to be in the next one because we knew that Chris Evans is. Right.
Yeah. So obviously that was a big thing. Those deaths. Right. And then we've got the tremendous battle in Wakanda.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Air bomber. I'm trying to give you the atmosphere of it while you read. I'll just go. Okay. That's tremendous, isn't it?
The climactic battle, which leads to the snap.
Yes.
Yeah, it closes out the film really well, and it's more interesting than the climactic battle in Wakanda that was featured in Black Panther. Stakes. Yeah.
Well, the stakes are really high, aren't they?
Yeah, the stakes are very clear and very real.
Yes. They couldn't get any higher, could they, really?
Yeah, the consequences are actually really horrific as well. And I like the fact that it reaches an emotional level, which none of these other movies really get into.
No.
None of them.
That is the one thing I do like about these films. They have got quite a high levels of emotion going on in it. And, of course, there's a lot of loss, especially, the sacrifice of Vision.
Yes. I like the intimacy between Wanda and Vision as well.
Which ultimately puts Scarlet Witch down that dark path that leads to Doctor Strange and everything.
Her craziness.
Yeah, her craziness, yeah.
As you say, Black Panther there is a fight in Wakanda, and it's about opening up. I like how the characters kind of open up in this one. And there is that kind of emotional weight. So you've got like the intimacy between Wanda and Vision. You've got Black Panther opening up Wakanda, technically, and giving his army to fight this horrific threat. But you've also got like the intimacy and the relationship between Thanos and Gamora and things like that. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
There's nothing like this in the other.
I mean, we've got Gamora as well. We lose Gamora in this one as well.
We do lose. Yeah.
I mean, that's very
temporarily.
Temporary. Yeah. But I mean, that is the bits on Boromir, is it? Boromir?
Yes. The cliff planet.
The cliff planet. Yeah. With the Red Skull, with ghosty Red Skull.
So yeah. Why is Hugo Weaving on that planet?
Well, that's not Hugo Weaving. That's an impressionist. But why is he on that? He's on that planet because he got sucked up with the Tesseract, didn't he? Right. He disappeared. He touched the Tesseract in Captain America.
So that means he has to wind up on this planet.
Well,
and be the guardian of this.
I think that's what they've done with him. Yeah.
Right. I
don't know in the comics whether he got turned into this.
I don't know.
Character, but they don't actually talk about what the character's name is, do they? You know, I think Hawkeye just says, that red guy, do you want to go and talk to that floating red guy or something, he says, doesn't it?
I like the Rocket and Thor partnership.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
I think that Thor should just be a Guardian of the Galaxy because he seems to be like a really good...
addition, isn't he?
Well, no, like a good, partner.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He's a good foil for someone.
He is, yeah.
And I love the Rocket. Anyway.
Do you like the thing with little Dinklage? The bit where he only if it kills me, and he's like, that's what it means.
It's one of the few scenes that kind of slowed the film down, or just didn't really work for me.
I don't really like that bit.
I don't really like that sequence at all.
The only bit I like is the quip where he sort of says if it doesn't kill you, and he's like, only if I die, and he's like, that's what killing you means. or something.
I don't like Chris Pratt either, or I don't like Star-Lord in this because he's
Star-Lord,
pretty
isn't he?
rubbish.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Star-Lord.
And he's a very toxic masculine.
He is.
And he gets very jealous, and he has the opportunity to stop Thanos, and he hesitates.
Yes.
And he hit him, doesn't he?
Yeah. He puts his own selfish motives above the whole of the universe.
Yeah. There's somebody at fault for the other movie, but I think Star-Lord is at fault for this movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. He definitely,
Is it a callback to when Iron Man in, what was it, Civil War or something, where he slaps because of the Winter Soldier, he finds out that he killed his...
Yeah.
Is that a callback?
I don't know, possibly. Could be. I mean, with Marvel, yeah, it could be. Could be, definitely.
For me, the MVP is Doctor Strange. He cycles through however many millions of possibilities and whatever, right?
He does that very quickly as well.
Was the one in which they defeat Thanos the first one that he saw, and he still had to go through all the other ones?
Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing? He just went through all these. Oh no, dead.
What do you think of like Spider-Man and people like that? Because Spider-Man is probably the funniest.
I like Spider-Man, but I have a complicated relationship with Tom Holland's Spider-Man because I think he is
like the other movies?
Stupid. I think he is kind of stupid.
What, Tom Holland or Spider-Man?
Tom Holland as Spider-Man is kind of stupid. Like the bit where Spider-Man gets dusted and he's like a big old crybaby, scared, like, oh, Mr. Stark, hold me, I'm scared.
He's a child.
Well, true, but he doesn't take it like, I don't know, like Scarlet Witch barely even realises she's being dusted, didn't she?
Indeed.
She's so mortified by the death of Vision, she barely even notices she
dies.
dies.
The ringer.
Yeah.
It's just another trauma. What do you think of Stan Lee's cameo as the bus driver?
Oh, brilliant. I love both his cameos in these films. I like his cameo in the second one better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like you've what's the matter with you kids? You've never seen an alien spacecraft before or something? Love him. Drax is hilarious.
Yes, Drax is good.
Okay. Dave Bautista is genuinely amazing and has incredible range. And I'm not a huge... You did mention the quips a minute ago, but I'm not a huge fan of the quippy humour and how it kind of undercuts a lot of important scenes.
Yeah, it's sort of making light of the gravity of the...
You don't need to.
Situation. You don't need to, do you?
You really don't need to.
No.
They do the same obviously throughout the other MCU
I think it's just because that's the way the Guardians of the Galaxy are. James Gunn set them up as comedy, quippy.
Well, it's not only that. There's Doctor Strange is throwing out quips all over the place.
Well, he is, yeah. But he does, though, doesn't he? Doesn't he do that?
In the comics, I suppose.
Yeah, and in the other films, he sort of says,
Yeah, I just don't like that humour, is all.
Right.
You can have like a serious...
You don't like the backwards and forwards with him and Iron Man?
I
where
like
he's kind of like...
sparingly, but I don't like it every other conversation.
I like the bit where Iron Man says that he's doing Doctor Strange a curtsy, a professional curtsy by saving his life.
My favourite bit is when they go, like Peter Parker is like, oh, hi, I'm Peter Parker, and he's like, hi, I'm Doctor Strange or something.
Oh, we use a made-up name.
Yeah. It's the best line of the movie.
It's great.
Thanos, then.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think of Thanos?
I think Thanos is a anti-hero in a way because... I think he's an anti-hero in a way because...
scumbag.
No, the thing is, he actually wants to do what's best for the universe, really. Deep down, I think.
Right.
I think deep down he does. I think it's just he's going the wrong way of he's going in a very Hitler way of doing it.
He's doing it in the worst possible way.
Yeah, he's doing it in the worst way possible.
Yeah. No, please.
You can't tell me that if this planet was reduced from 9 million people to 5 million people, that we all wouldn't be a little bit more happy. And there'd be a little bit more room. You know what I mean?
I think that any murder is monstrous.
Well, I think murder is monstrous. Yeah,
that's what he's doing.
I know, but it was a kind of way with the snap was a kind of way that he just disappeared. He didn't physically have them killed, did he?
Right. So just to explain, he has a desire to balance out the universe.
Yes.
There's apparently not enough to go around.
Yes.
And
why has he made himself the caretaker, though? I wonder why he's got it in his head, I've got to do this.
Right. Well,
I'm the person.
It's utterly monstrous.
It is.
But you understand, or you comprehend...
You understand you comprehend his motives.
You don't necessarily understand... There's certainly no level of understanding in what he's trying to do, because it's horrific. But you comprehend his motivations. And he is generally introduced as like an obsessive, power-hungry madman.
I suppose, but he's not.
And he's kind of wound
I don't
up
know.
in
He's
his
not got
own ambitions.
hubris because he.
Yes, he does.
No, he hasn't, because when he finds out he dies, he's like, that's destiny fulfilled.
Right.
So he's not. He was
so
like, oh my
wound
god, I got killed.
He's so wound up in his own
Yeah,
ambitions. Right.
that he doesn't really care whether he lives or dies because
that's
there's
still pretty
only
monstrous.
That is pretty monstrous, actually. Yeah, thinking about it is.
This
guy is worse than Hitler.
He is literally Space Hitler.
He is Space Hitler. He's
So
awful.
what do you reckon of Josh Brolin then?
I thought he's brilliant. I think
Perfect.
Absolutely perfect. I think I remember them saying about Thor: Love and Thunder that they didn't want to put Christian Bible, or as you call him, they didn't.
As your mum calls him.
Yeah, she did call him Christian Bible. Didn't want to put him under makeup because it would hinder his performance or ruin his performance. I don't think having a CG Thanos has ruined Josh Brolin's performance, because that is Josh Brolin.
Yeah, the movie belongs to him as well.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see Josh Brolin in that performance.
He very literally kills it.
Yeah, he does.
A massive credit to the effects team as well, because he looks like a real person.
He does. He looks really, really. I mean, even down to like his fingernails, you could see like little ridges where his fingernails sort of look a bit.
Yeah,
and
you sort of contrast
imperfections.
that to when we were introduced to him. It was at the very, very end, like post-credits thing in
Of the original Avengers, wasn't it? Yeah,
the first Avengers.
Yeah, 2012.
And he looked awful.
He did. He looked very purple, didn't he? He was very purple. He wasn't skin purple. He was
shaped it. And he got a smack of Bruce Willis looking about him.
He has. He looks really good. And I also noticed that, like, when you see him in some scenes, he looks like he's got like a little bit of stubble on his head.
Yes,
because he's got. Presuming he shaves his head.
He's got a bun head, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a sort of stubbly head, it looks like. Either that or it's dirty. I don't know. I don't presume to know. Thanos'
hygiene.
His own hygiene, that's the word,
There
sorry. I just had a mind fart there.
You did.
Yeah. His own hygiene. I don't presume to know his hygiene regime. So.
We talked about how great the design and the execution of Thanos is. The dust effect has sort of become a meme now as well. It's become that iconic. Like, it's that good. I know you didn't like Tom Holland, but you probably didn't like his performance when turning to dust, if you will.
No, I didn't like. Apart from that, I thought he was really good, but he acted a bit like a baby. You know, like, you want to be an Avenger, but you can't. You
He's
can't.
a child.
Yes, but you want to be an Avenger. You cannot man up and die, because that's the whole point. You're an Avenger.
Do you think that Hawkeye's kids went down that way as well?
No, they went really quiet, didn't they?
Quietly.
They went quietly.
Stoically.
Yeah, stoic, yeah, definitely.
The way it should be.
Especially his daughter, who's like, at the beginning of the thing. I was going to mention to that,
Okay.
He's like, babe, we're coming, we're hungry.
Oh, he's going to go save them with his little bow and arrow. Love the CG. What I was going to get at is that the CG is incredible in this.
It is, yeah.
The very
I love Iron Man's suit. His suit, the
planets
stuff
and
his
the characters.
suit does.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the fact it's almost like robotic in some of the stuff. It can do like he can turn his feet into like tripods, and his like his hands into like these blasters, and these things come out of his back, don't they?
And you don't question it because he's Iron Man.
Because Iron Man, he's got his.
You know he can just conjure it.
Yeah, he can do this sort of stuff. It's Tony Stark.
What do you think of the score?
I think the score's brilliant.
It's epic,
brilliant.
isn't it? Yeah.
I like this score to Infinity War better than Endgame score.
Why?
Because I don't particularly like that score that comes up.
It's the same guy. It's Alan Silvestri.
Yeah, there's a piece of music that comes up in Endgame which I'm not very keen on, and it sounds a little bit. I don't know. I always think it sounds a bit dorky. I don't.
Dorky? Which part?
I'm trying to think where it is.
Oh, okay.
My favourite piece of music, I will tell you, is the bit on Voromir.
Okay,
That piece of very
Yeah.
emotional music. I love that piece of music, especially the piece where you see the person laying where they've fallen off the thing, and you get that do do do, and it all gets very emotional and dramatic. Verdict. It's big. This movie is big.
We're big. Insert Chris Eubank.
Insert Chris Eubank. Insert.
I think you have to view these films.
Fireworks.
Explosions. Fireworks shotgun. I think you have to view these two films as one whole.
Yes,
right?
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
As a whole, though, I think it's their best work because for the emotional aspects, certainly for the emotional climax where everybody dies, half the people die. For its clarity in the motivations of, say, Thanos.
Yeah.
What do you think of his right-hand man? Who was the voice of the very English right-hand man?
Maul? Maul?
Sure.
Maul?
The little grey man. was the
Yeah,
voice?
the one that had the one that moved things.
Yeah,
and had the
And he cut a car in half just by sort of
That's right.
a stroke.
I don't know
Okay.
who did
Well,
his voice.
anyway, I thought it was really good.
I know who did Midnight Proxima,
Who was
or
that?
Proxima Midnight.
Yeah.
That's her who was in the latest Ghostbusters.
Melissa McCarthy?
No, the latest Ghostbusters, who played the mom in that.
Carrie Coon.
Yes, Carrie Coon.
Love Carrie
Yeah,
Coon.
yeah. She did the voice in that. And her and
Star-studded cast.
her and what's his name? Oh, the one that looks like the elf, who's one of the children of
Okay.
Thanos. They're married.
Oh,
Did you know that?
congratulations.
Yeah.
I didn't
And if
know
you watch Endgame, at the end of it, you'll see she's holding him in her arms as she turns to dust.
that. Oh, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, he's laying across her,
Okay.
and they turn to dust together.
Oh, I like that.
Mm.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name because they've got such funny names, haven't they?
I was just curious, going to pick your
Yeah.
brains as well. So anyway, the stakes are great, the motivations are great,
Yeah.
everything. There's an emotional weight. It rips
It's
along.
exciting.
Well, it's
very
so
exciting.
quickly paced as
Yeah.
well. It's like bang, bang, bang,
Yeah.
bang, bang. Whereas the other one is maybe not so quickly paced. And for the conflicted central characters coming together, they fight. The whole thing about Thanos is that they fight a character that they do not understand.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably don't understand until they've already. And even then, he still wins.
Yeah. Well, there's no way to beat Thanos up, is there?
Well, yeah.
I mean, come on, he went toe to toe with the Hulk.
And mullered the Hulk.
Yeah, and basically he went, let him have his fun. Let him have his fun with the Hulk.
Avengers Endgame is an epic superhero sequel from 2019. This is the 22nd film of the MCU, a definitive conclusion to the events leading up to this point, closing several character arcs and revisiting a number of key moments, boasting a stellar cast of returning performers with the likes of Robert Redford and Tilda
Tilda's back.
reprising their roles in this instance. I'm going to try my best to explain what happens in this. Just a quick synopsis.
If you've got a spare hour.
So it's a direct sequel to Infinity War, set less than a month after Thanos has erased half of all life in the universe with a single snap of his chunky fingers. We find Tony Stark drifting through the endless abyss of space with Nebula. And it's not looking very good for them until Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvelous, locates them and drags them back to Earth, which is like an incredible sort of recovery service. It's an amazing sort of AA.
It is, isn't it? That does remind me of that.
I suspect that would carry a
Space AA.
hefty insurance fee. Stark encounters the surviving Avengers, including Captain Hulk, Thor, Natasha Romanoff, my beloved Rocket, and good old War Machine.
Your beloved Rocket.
I really do like Rocket.
He's awesome, though,
I
isn't
don't
he?
like Guardians of the Galaxies either. Mainly because I don't like Star-Lord. They track Thanos to an uninhabited planet where they plot to use the Infinity Stones to sort of reverse his horrific actions, only to discover that Thanos has actually destroyed the stones because he's a canny beast.
He is.
An enraged Thor lops his head off. Fast forward 5 years later, and Ant-Man escapes the quantum realm in which he has been sort of stuck. He explains that he's only been stuck in there for like 5 hours, but it has actually been 5 years. Thus, time travel is possible. And the Avengers approach a sort of reclusive Tony Stark for help in conjuring a time machine of sorts, a time mapping device.
Yeah, like
thingy
time theory.
with the aim of going back in time to gather the stones before Thanos can grab them. It sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
Stark is a clever Trevor and susses it out, but is reluctant to really get involved, having just become a father. The 5 years have taken their toll. Hawkeye's turned into a vigilante. Thor has sort of turned into a fortnight bothering loser, and Hulk is now a terrifying smart lad. They ally and travel through various eras on their quest to retrieve the stones. Thanos sort of catches wind of this quest and winds up in the post-snap present day for a big old scrap. A stunning story of sacrifice, duty, friendship and introspection.
Yes.
What do you think of Endgame?
Oh,
I think I did my best in explaining what
Yes.
this
Well,
is.
you're not going to be able to explain it all. I mean, obviously, we're hoping whoever's listening to this has seen them.
I hope
Yeah, I hope
if you
you've
haven't
seen-
seen these movies, why are you listening?
Yeah. Why are you listening? Why are you interested?
Why are you listening to this? What's the matter with you?
I think where we start here is that it's like Empire Strikes Back. We're starting where things have all just fallen apart, haven't they?
It's all falling apart.
Everybody's depressed. I was depressed. That's what Natasha Romanoff says. I was depressed.
She literally
She is
says it that
literally
way.
on the verge of like a nervous breakdown, really, isn't she? She's
Yeah.
she's emotionally had it.
She needs a cuddle.
Yeah, she really does. Captain America is trying to put a brave face on it and trying to help people move on
Yes.
with their lives
Yeah.
after this tragedy.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll get into that in a moment, I think.
I think he thinks that's all he really can do is just to try and help people because there's nothing else he can do, with his power.
Yeah.
Apart from try and help people move on with life after this terrible tragedy that they weren't able to stop.
You said was justified like 5 minutes
I
ago.
don't think it's just. I'm just saying that I think that overcrowding in planets is not particularly good, is it?
Right. Jump onto that
Yeah.
while it's still fresh. I think Thor is dealing with various losses, including the loss of his home planet. He lost so much.
as a fortnight bothering.
Right. He's dealing with his
person.
issues. I think Thor is dealing with his issues in the wrong way, whereas Steve Rogers, Captain America, is part of a counselling group. Yeah.
I think Thor has gone the way that most people would. He's just turned to drink, isn't he?
I think Thor. Yeah, he's dealing
run
with his
away
issues
from
in
it and put himself in a bubble.
the
and
worst way.
just-
He recluses himself and pathetically sits around playing Fortnite while getting loaded with his idiot friend. I really don't like that direction. I don't really love the Thor Rocket dynamic thing in.
But I do love
Infinity
sitting
War.
around and getting loaded with my nephew playing
Well,
Fortnite.
You're gonna have to deal with your issues better.
So technically, I could be like Thor, couldn't I?
While I love Thor and Rocket in the previous one, I hate their mission to Asgard in this one.
Yeah, I'm not keen on that bit.
No, it's dull as dishwater.
Yeah.
I don't like the fat Thor angle either.
I don't mind the fat Thor thing. I just don't like because when he's got his actual Asgardian
that's
stuff,
the
on,
thing, yeah.
he looks really husky and thick.
I think the
He looks
filmmakers
good.
kind of get bored of the concept really quickly, and they just dress him in very billowy clothes.
Yeah.
But I think they kind of get bored of the concept of Fat Thor very, very quickly because he
I
offers...
quite like the fat the look of him as
nothing.
No, but it offers a different look of him, doesn't
it?
it?
It shows that he's this pathetic loser.
Yeah, but I think that's how he's felt. I think that's how he feels inside, that he is a loser. He failed.
The two extremes of Steve Rogers actually being part of a counselling group and dealing with his loss within the context
I think all the stuff that's happened to Thor has caught up with him.
He loses everything.
This has literally been the straw that broke the camel's back. He lost his mother, his family, everything.
But what I'm saying is Captain America also lost absolutely everything. Right,
he's just dealing with it better.
But he's dealing with it better, and I think the film, like I said, I think the filmmakers kind of get bored with the concept and then dress him in his finery for the big battle.
I must admit, I didn't like.
It's a misstep.
I didn't like the bit where he's sort of wandering around Asgard and he's going, I can't do it, I can't do it,
boring.
and and Rocket's having to sort of slap him and go, like, listen, I've lost all my family too.
Exactly, Rocket.
Come on.
This is why I love Rocket.
We've got to get together here. Especially as he tells everybody when Natasha sacrifices herself, they're like, "Come on, everybody, get it together. We're the Avengers."
Yeah,
and
he doesn't.
But he doesn't.
Just sitting around playing
he
games
can't get
like
him. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, is Natalie Portman in this?
Well, I don't know whether that is a scene that they had
From
on
a previous
cutting
film or
room floor from
that's
Thor: The Dark World. I
too.
reckon.
Okay,
Yeah, I reckon it is.
So skeezy.
I think it is
Does
because
she still
I
get paid for it?
I don't know. I know she gets credit for it, doesn't she?
So gets credit.
She gets credit for that tiny bit where she gets off the chaise lounge.
Yes. Sorry, you were saying.
There's. I mean, this film has got some funny bits because the bit I want to talk about is the bit right at the end.
Right.
Where you see Kid. Oh, look, there's Kid that nobody knows.
So, yeah, fast forward. Tony Stark sacrifices himself, and it's the most beautiful thing in the world.
It is.
And he does.
It's the most wonderful sacrifice.
I think we'll get into Tony Stark briefly because he's.
Let's just talk about this irrelevant fact.
We'll talk about.
My wife says to me, right?
Who's that?
We're watching it. We see all the people, and out of all the people, she says.
So Tony Stark's funeral.
Yes.
He's. This
Everybody's
sort of Riverside funeral thing he's seen, and there's this massive, multi-million-dollar sort of pass-through of all of these megastars,
big and little, and
boy.
And my wife turns around and says, "Who's he again?"
Who's he? And
I'm like, from Iron Man 3.
Did we say that? Because we saw this in the cinema together.
Yes, we did see Iron Man 3
Did
together,
we collectively say, who was that guy at the end?
Yes. Yes, we did.
And who is
we even saw Iron Man 3 together when we saw him, and we still couldn't remember him.
It's because he's gone.
They flew him in.
Right. He was.
So wait a minute. They got on the phone to him.
Right.
Hey, boy, from Iron Man 3, Tony Stark has died. Would you like to come to his funeral?
We know you were close.
We know you were close. You helped him on an adventure, didn't you?
He got an invitation through the mail.
And then he's just standing there all on his own, like, wow, I'm surrounded by all these really, really highly powered. And then, look, there's Captain Marvel over there. Like, she could just squish me.
Do you want to talk about Captain Marvel? I really don't like Captain Marvel.
I hate Captain Marvel.
And I think
I'm not keen on Captain
Marvel. Completely the worst choice to bring into this movie as well.
I don't
so
think overpowered. Yeah, exactly, like Superman.
It's all of a sudden like they're fighting.
It's the Captain
and then she
Marvel show, isn't it?
Flies through the enemy ship thing and blows it up, and it's like
Captain Marvel show. She starts taking him on. He headbutts her. Oh, look, that doesn't work.
She has no bearing in the other 20-odd movies or whatever it is leading up to this. So I think she'd had her first solo movie, right?
Barely.
Within like a few months before the release of this one.
Yeah.
So you know, but she's got no real bearing.
I personally don't like Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I
think Brie Larson is one of the best young actors in the world.
Right.
I don't like her.
I don't like her for this character.
Like Captain Marvel is what I'm saying.
I don't like her for this character. I think
who would have been a better Captain Marvel or Carol Danvers or whatever.
Do you know who might have been? Charlize Theron, perhaps.
Emily Blunt.
No, not.
Yeah, because she's got warm. She's got a
possibly.
Charlize Theron doesn't.
She's a little bit she's a bit standoffish, isn't she?
Tough lady, and I love Charlize Theron. Don't get me wrong, but Emily
I think Captain Marvel does have to have a likeable thing about her.
She's got to have a bit of warmth. To
her, a bit of warmth, and I don't think Brie Larson's got that warmth.
Yeah, it's what was kind of lacking from Henry Cavill's Superman.
That warmth, that Christopher Reeve has.
That Christopher Reeve had in abundance.
He's got a lot of warmth. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I still think Christopher Reeve is the best Superman. I don't care. I don't care about people's opinions.
I don't think
it'll always be to me. It'll always be Michael Keaton, and it'll always be Christopher Reeve. So
you don't like Christian Bale as Batman?
I do like him as Batman, but he's not my Batman.
What about Robert Pattinson?
I think he's a great Batman. Yeah. I think they're great I think Henry Cavill is a good Superman. No. Just not my Superman.
I don't think Henry Cavill's a very good Superman. I don't think Brandon Routh is a very good Superman either. So,
I think somebody else should have played. Somebody with a little bit of warmth should have played Captain Marvel.
But obviously Emily Blunt's going to be Fantastic Four lady. So
she might be. She might be.
Shouldn't she be? Come on, Emily Blunt. Just answer the quote.
Isn't Hollywood running out of actors to be in MCU films now? Like, literally everybody is... everybody's joined the MCU, haven't they? I mean, Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson is in the MCU now. Oh.
Where Josh Brolin's Thanos was the absolute star of Infinity War, Endgame completely belongs to Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark. Yeah. The first of the Marvel heroes to be introduced within the MCU, and it's fitting that the focus should be on him in this instance.
Yes.
Stark has been burned by the spat with Steve Rogers, and he has led the group through some seriously messed up events, such as the Tesseract scene in New York. Siege, not siege.
It was lovely though, wasn't it? The time heist was. I mean, the time heist was fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah. I did love that, and I love the fact that they just went and said it. Like, what are we doing? We're doing a time heist.
Exactly.
Because that's what everyone would have called it anyway. That watched
that's what it is.
But it is a time. We're doing a time heist, and I love the bit where Tony Stark drops the ball and they mess it up, and you got Ant-Man going, "You messed up. You've destroyed this." He's like, "Stop repeating yourself. Stop repeating myself. Stop repeating myself." I love how he gets really sort of quite irritated with Iron Man.
He's grown the most, Tony Stark, throughout all of these movies.
Yes. And also you've got like Paul Rudd with his Ant-Man, so he's all kind of very what's the word? He's sort of very official and very
Ant-Man.
Yeah, like Captain America, Rogers, like that sort of very respectful.
We all love Paul Rudd.
And then you've got Iron Man who messes up, and as soon as he messes up, there's no more of the niceties with him. He's like, you messed up.
He's cutting in.
You've ruined everything, Iron Man.
Well, Ant-Man is kind
We had one chance to do this, and you messed it up, Iron Man.
Ant-Man is the catalyst for all of this.
He is.
And it's brilliant. Yeah. So Tony Stark, he's gone through the ringer. He's grown the most.
He has.
We sort of
We get a bit of catharsis when he goes back to 1970.
We do, to meet his
with
father.
his father. He gets a bit of catharsis with that.
Yeah, and again, it's just exploring. The movie completely belongs to him.
And I do quite love that little bit with his father where they're chatting. And
it's a bit weird, but
it's a bit weird,
works.
but it does
Completely
work.
works.
And obviously you've got the Stan Lee cameo.
Yes.
You know,
What does he say?
make love not war, doesn't he, or something?
Something like that. And he's got his like little wig on.
He's got his wig on, and he's got enough said on his
number plate.
And I find it really jarring when you go from that bit with Howard and Tony Stark, and then suddenly you go back to Thanos' ship.
Okay. Yeah.
And I find that really sort of, because you kind of put your head in like, oh right, we're in the real world, and you know, we're dealing with fathers and sons and time, and then suddenly, oh look, we're back in space.
We're back in scary space.
Yeah, and it's a bit, I always find it a bit jarring because my mind has gone on to like, no, we're on Earth, and you know, and then suddenly, oh no, we're in space.
Yeah. Tony Stark has the most to lose.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, he says, I've got to keep what I've got.
And he's the one who's moved on the most since the snap. Because everyone else is feeling sorry for themselves, but he's kind of moved on.
Everything Tony Stark is doing is unselfish because he's got exactly what he wants.
He's got a beautiful wife, he's got a beautiful child, he's still a bajillionaire genius.
And his child loves him 3,000. How many kids love their parents 3,000?
Still does the right thing. He still sacrifices.
He still does it,
yeah, and who could have done this better than Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's terrific.
I personally think Thor would have done this. I personally think if Thor could have done it, Thor would have given his life to.
So badly written in this film.
Yeah.
I hate Thor.
But I think Thor would have given his life, the way that Thor was, he would have been like, well, I've got nothing to lose and everybody to save. So if he could have worn
everybody betray me.
If he could have worn the glove.
Yeah.
You know, like Hulk said, well, the rays in this are gamma, so I've really got to do it.
Yeah.
It's like I was made to do this. I know you want to do it, but it probably will kill you.
Speaking of sacrifice, Black Widow.
Yes.
Natasha is a really, really interesting character, and tidbits of her life are revealed across the various films, of course. You never really get to know her.
No.
And the Black Widow solo movie, in which her background is,
I think you get to know her really well in that one, don't you?
But it should not have come after this movie. It should have been the film before this.
Yes.
We shouldn't have had a Captain Marvel movie. We should have had Black Widow.
Yes, we should.
And it would have made that her personal sacrifice, who is a really, really fascinating character, all the more heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that Hawkeye wanted to give his life because basically his family was gone.
Yes.
And he thought, I've really done a lot of stuff I can't reverse.
He goes off the rails.
Yeah, I've gone off the rails. I've killed a load of people. I became a vigilante.
Vigilante.
Ronin.
Yeah.
I've become a vigilante. I'm not a hero.
No.
But yeah, in the same way, she's the same. She's like, well, basically, I've done a load of killing.
She's such an interesting character.
Yeah. I mean, it's the, what is it? The ledger is dripping. Isn't that the word? Yeah. They've got a lot of red in her ledger.
Indeed. I'm not so keen on Hawkeye's unflattering mohawk.
No. Do you care for the tattoos? Do you care for the tattoo art?
The mohawk does me the most in because
I like his mohawk.
It doesn't. It is completely in contrast to the features of his rounded face.
Right.
So it's stupid.
Right.
But does he have that dreadful Barnet in the comics?
I don't know. I don't know about Ronan.
What were you thinking?
I don't think I've ever come across him.
Like, it was quite a cold planet, wasn't it? The thing. He could have just have sacrificed himself with a snowplow.
Oh God!
Captain America.
That's got to be cut out.
Captain America, much like Stark, Steve Rogers is also grown, and the snap has shown that everything can come to an end for him. Yeah.
Yes.
And regardless of his actions and his whatevers, things can still end, and I think he kind of understands that. And he valiantly dives into the events and adjusts and corrects the timeline and retires with his lady.
Yes. And
that's perfectly fine. Though I have problems with the bench, which is what I'm going to be...
When Hulk throws the bench?
No, the old man Captain America.
I
have a bit of an issue with that.
Yes, the Clint Eastwood old man bench.
Should we talk about this then?
Yes, let's talk about it.
So... happens. He retires with his lady, right? And then they catch up with him sitting on a bench. And he looks like
Bucky knew this because Bucky said, "I'm going to miss you."
Right. And at the end, he passes the literal torch / shield over to his mate, his Bezzy Falcon, basically.
Can we talk about Anthony Mackie's beard,
please?
what was up with the beard?
It's much like Hawkeye's silly haircut.
Yeah,
like,
it's
what's
just a strange beard that's
so
just
precise.
it is. It's so well groomed, but it's kind of goes up half his face and sort of leaves his jawline. It's like the beard has avoided the jawline and just gone straight for the cheek.
Yeah, it's like a cheek beard.
It is, and I'm so pleased he didn't cart that along to the Falcon Winter Soldier.
Is that show
TV
worth
show.
watching?
Personally, I think it is.
Okay.
I think it is one of the better. Obviously, if you're going to watch it, in my humble opinion, WandaVision is number one of the shows.
And I thought that was absolutely fantastic.
I did, because it took two people that you just did not give a damn about.
No, not
and
at all.
actually made you, by the end of it, go, oh, actually, I quite
Really
like these characters. I really
flesh
do.
them out.
Yeah.
And introduces a really interesting
And made you
angle.
care.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you actually did care about what happened to
And
Wanda.
it's an interesting ride as well. All of the different eras and things like
Yeah.
that, and aesthetics and stuff.
Yeah,
It's really interesting.
the Falcon Winter Soldier show, I would say, is your general. If you like Captain America, that kind of thing, it's your general punchy explosions, car chases,
Right.
guns. Usual Marvel.
Good old spectacle.
Yeah.
So anyway, right. I just want you to explain it to me because I don't understand it.
Right.
So he passes the shield over to his busy.
He does.
Right, and that in itself is absolutely fine. Right.
Right.
Passing the torch, lovely job, lovely little moment. But how would that work? But because by going back in the past to live with Agent Carter, you would now technically have two Captain Americas in the same timeline, right? Because if he's absconded with Peggy Carter and then Captain America is unfrozen and then does his hero routine as you've come to know, you'd have two of them. If he's living as a recluse with Peggy Carter, you've got two in the same timeline, correct? Is that right? How does that work? So if he's retired away with Carter, in the timeline in which they exist, there would be two Captain Americas. You'd have old Clint Eastwood Captain America.
Yeah.
He wouldn't, knowing Captain America, as we've come to know him, as America's ass.
Oh, America's ass. That's America's ass.
He would not see any of this chaos erupting from the sidelines. He'd be Captain America. He wouldn't. Would you logically accept that if this chaos were going on and he were living with Peggy Carter, there's no way he'd sit by because he's Captain America. He wouldn't watch this chaos unfold.
All this chaos happened when he was too old, though.
Chances are he'd probably be in his 60s.
Yeah.
Right? Mm. He'd still jump in. He's still Captain America.
He's obviously decided not to. I don't know.
Okay. It's all well and good to go with the flow, but these kind of questions really bother me.
Problem is, you always get these kind of things, and this is why you get articles on the internet of a loophole in this film, years and years later.
I adore the Back to the Future movies, but I generally hate time travel because it's really, really silly.
Well, it is, isn't it? You can't talk to your past self and all this other.
But given the context of the story, where you've got like magic gemstones and a talking raccoon, it kind of fine.
Well,
right.
Yes, as Black Widow says, I get emails from Raccoon.
Right.
Nothing phases me, innit?
Sure.
What did you think of the pointless scene where Jon Favreau says to
about
the hamburgers, about the cheeseburgers, which is the callback to the original Iron Man? I don't see the point of that.
Her dad's dead.
Yeah.
And he's asking her about cheeseburgers.
Yeah, she wants cheeseburgers. She's like, okay. And I'm just like sitting there watching it, thinking, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
What's the point of this scene? Instead of that hamburger scene, I would have preferred a scene where Jon Favreau went up to Boy from Iron Man 3 and just basically went, hey kid, how do you know Tony? And he's just like,
right.
I met him.
Don't have a problem with two nebulas, knowing that they're two machines. Well, I have a problem with two Steve Rogers though.
Right. Okay.
Especially over a span of time.
Right.
With Steve Rogers sitting in the sideline, presumably watching younger Steve Rogers doing stuff. That's my problem.
If Steve Rogers went back, did they ever get him out of the ice though? Maybe he just stayed. The other ones just stayed frozen in the ice.
Events still kind of happened.
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he just walked back to the past to be with Peggy Carter while young Steve Rogers was causing chaos, but doing the things.
What did you think about Hulk in this film? Because I found Hulk
terrifying,
and I hate to use this word, but
I was not prepared for scientist talk.
Hulk just seemed like he was just for lack of a better word, just taking the piss all the time. No, he did. Like when Ant-Man is trying to say, listen, don't mess with that. You're being really hulky. Do you see his face where he's just like nodding and like?
He's got like a sly grin on his face.
He's got like a sly grin, like I'm not really taking this seriously. Oh, this is hilarious.
Right.
I mean, what about when he says Ant-Man in the thing and he comes back old and then he comes back as a baby and he's like, this is a total win. It's like you're in charge of the time travel.
At the same time, though, Boss Man is the only person capable of the snap.
Well, true,
Physically capable.
Yeah, but what I'm
Thor's not
saying
up
is,
to
if
it.
the time travel is revolving around Hulk's way to get them, things would have gone dramatically wrong because Hulk wasn't taking things serious at all.
No, it's really jarring as well. I was not
It
prepared
is.
for Clever Hulk. Yeah,
The
Clever
Professor Hulk, isn't it?
Professor Hulk.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you like the bit where he goes back to New York and he's just like, "Ugh," and he just picks out, he just like smashes the car slightly, he just like tosses a bike.
I love the pace in this as well. It takes its time.
It does.
It's so sort of jarring because the other one is so rapid, so fast.
I think you needed that though. I think
Yeah.
you needed that time at the beginning of the film to take it in and breathe and.
What I love about this is that it's so slow, is that you can watch it, you can get up, you can have a wee,
Yeah.
you can make a lovely sandwich,
Yes.
and you don't really miss much when you come
No.
back. I like that.
That is good.
And I like that everything isn't necessarily punctuated by an annoying quip. What's your verdict?
This movie is big!
It's big in every word, and I loved it. I have my problems with it, but they're the most minor, trivial, nitpick problems.
Big! We're big!
Yeah.
It's definitely big. It's a huge film. It's a spectacle. It's got
you have
got
to-
a little bit. It's got heart behind it as well, which is nice.
I think you really do need to have watched the other 22 movies or whatever it is
Yeah.
before this to really get a good
Yeah.
feel for this one and why this one is so good.
Yeah.
And why Infinity War? Right? Because
I mean, considering how long they are, I don't feel the length.
especially the first one, Infinity War, it just rattles.
Yeah.
And I like the slow pace. I like the fact that they explore their problems.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they should because I think the whole thing of Phase 4 has been the backlash and the fallout from.
Should they have just stopped with this one? Because it hasn't been great what they've released since.
Well, the thing is, the MCU are not going to stop because they're making money.
they're making the billions.
They're
baby.
making money. They're not going to end it there.
No.
Where
fair
they're
enough,
going
but at the
from
same
here,
time-
I have no idea. I have literally no idea
But
because
they've not really. I mean, the Eternals was really
I
boring.
don't
and
feel
I'm not really feeling those characters.
my problem is I'm not
Shang-Chi
feeling
is
excited for the next lot of film. I mean, like the Marvels.
No.
I'm not. I haven't even bothered watching the trailer for it. I'm not
saw
excited.
the trailer on my phone the other day,
Right.
and I didn't really know what was going on.
Right. Something I know. There's something to do with the Ms. Marvel
Yeah.
swaps
Yeah.
places,
sort of bodies.
Like she swaps location or some. I've not seen the Ms. Marvel show, so I don't know.
haven't seen it. I don't care. And as you
I
say,
don't-
You
I don't really
like
care.
that character anyway.
I'm not keen on that character. No. I didn't watch the Moon Knight. I watched a couple episodes of the Moon Knight show. I didn't like it.
Like the post Endgame output has been, in my opinion, sloppy
Yeah, not great.
and unfocused.
Yeah.
I
mean, I
you
love
like
Doctor
the
Strange.
multiverse of madness.
I like the Multiverse of Madness,
Wasn't
but-
so hot on it, but I understand why you
I
like.
haven't seen Ant-Man yet, so I've got to still see that. So.
I didn't like it at all, but Shang-Chi is fine.
I didn't feel like there was the hype and the just excitement
Sure.
towards the next film, you know.
Where do you?
And I think Shang-Chi, although it's a good film, I think it didn't have the excitement or
don't
the
think it's even a very good
anticipation
film.
because
It's not bad, but at the same time, I wasn't really bothered.
I wasn't blown away. I mean, I wasn't like I've got to see that again.
I didn't take much away. There's not much that kind of revolves around your brain after seeing.
No, and Eternals. To be honest, I couldn't wait to turn it off when it was finished.
Bored.
I was. I
And
didn't like it.
Don't really like the characters either.
I didn't.
And
I
then
thought you've got a load of characters, but they're all just really mediocre.
And then, as you say, we've had the Falcon, and we've had a slew of TV shows. WandaVision is the only one I've seen, and it's been great. She-Hulk,
She-Hulk's a comedy. It's like a sitcom.
right?
So
Isn't there a MODOK cartoon or something around it as well?
there is. There's a MODOK like stop motion TV show.
Okay, so it's not part of, and there's
No.
Right. Okay.
That's not properly.
Black Panther 2 was okay. I understand the direction they went because they lost the great Chadwick Boseman.
In my opinion, I would not have made another one. I wouldn't. They could have not made it.
Why?
He died before the film came out, before they even started filming it.
Sure.
So they didn't need to make it. It wasn't
know,
like Chadwick Boseman was in the middle of making the film and then they said, oh, damn, right, well, we've got to complete this film.
Like you said, the last one made bajillions. It was nominated for like a Best Picture as well,
Yes.
if you recall.
Yes, but the difference was it had Chadwick Boseman.
Right.
And its band had a lead singer. Its band doesn't have a lead singer now.
That's
you know.
a nice metaphor. Chadwick Boseman was an incredible actor.
And so
it's a
charismatic.
massive-
and he held... Yeah, he just held that.
They use archival footage at the very end of Black Panther 2, don't they?
Yes.
And that moment where you just see him on screen with that aura that he had, it just kind of makes you think, oh man, what a loss.
I think it's still sad when you're watching these films and you see
understand
Chadwick
why they-
Boseman in them and you you feel a pang of sort of sadness that he's not with us
He
anymore.
turns up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to think that Chadwick Boseman made these films when he was very ill.
He was dying.
Yeah, he was literally dying and doing these
God.
films. He's running around in these films.
It's like, as we were saying with Raul
What a
Julia. Raul Julia in the Street Fighter movie. He was dealing with actual bowel cancer and was in a lot of pain while doing all this silly action
What a
stuff.
legend.
Yeah, it's just, just different gravy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But in all, I suppose the point we're getting to is that it's... Where are they going? What's the point? Why?
I mean, where are they going with it? Because
I'm sure in retrospect, when we listen to this or something or other in a year's time, it's
maybe
like,
it will make sense.
It will make sense.
Maybe it does make sense.
That Feige's got it.
Yeah, I'm sure there is some plan to all of this, but it does at the moment. It just seems a bit like a jigsaw just scattered on the table, and you're sort of piecing it like, is this all going to go together properly?
It's a jigsaw minus its three key pieces.
Yeah.
The most interesting three characters are dead or retired.
Or retired, yeah.
Yeah. So, where do you go?
I mean, where are they going with Thor? The last one was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And they messed him up in this one. I know you might disagree, but
I didn't think that Thor was that bad. I thought he was brilliant at the end. I thought he was brilliant when he was,
Because the filmmakers got bored of it, I think.
And
they made him Thor again.
Yeah.
Good episode. Join us again when we discuss Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from 1971 and the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe from 2005. Here were Jason and I were John. You can find us both on Letterboxd. I'm Rat Bastard. You are...
Kurjarellon.
How is that spelled?
Kurja_Rellon.
Okay. And you can find us on...
It's spelled K-E-R... Sorry, you said spelt, didn't you?
Yeah.
K-R-J-A_RELON.
You can find us on social media now.
You can. We are on Instagram at the moment. Woo! And we are on Instagram as Cinemattraction_podcast.
There we are.
So please
Give us
join
a
us
follow.
there and follow us. And I will be posting posters of each film that the two films we'll be doing each week.
Yeah.
And to hopefully get you guys excited about what we'll be talking about, because we're excited to talk about them for you.
We've got episodes on Terminator, Kill Bill, and all these other
We've got all sorts lined up. I think we've got one for Jordan Peele. We've got Get Out and Nope.
Yep.
We're doing a With Nal and I with something,
We've
aren't
just
we?
said we're doing it with Nal and I.
Sleepy Hollow and Beetlejuice.
We've got the Timber. Shush, don't tell
Oh,
people.
sorry. I let the cat out.
Oh my
I
God,
let the
make
cat
them
out.
excited.
Making you guys too excited.
Okay, love you.
Love you, boy. Thanks for listening.
You see, now I'm going to actually avert my eyes, if you don't mind, because things like this make me tense.